let me just give you a little brush up about what this project debugging is all about. Okay, what do we mean by debugging? What is debugging? Well, to remove any technical terms, any big jargon, in simple terms, debugging is simply the process of identifying and fixing errors or mistakes in your code or in your program. Okay, so there are errors which could be spelling errors, not putting the right operators, or entirely having the wrong input in your program that will not make your program produce the correct or the right output. So the process of trying to look for, identify, as well as fix those errors is what we call debugging. I believe that helped a little. All right, you could look through what they have here, you know, to understand more about what debugging actually does. There are a lot of IDEs and tools that you can use for debugging, but for this particular project we are going to be doing it manually, like looking at code, looking through and see where the errors is coming from. And again, note that in this project we are not going to be coding from scratch. What we are going to be doing is simply looking at our code and trying to identify where the error is, maybe one or two lines, and fix them. So I believe I want you to understand that, so that you will know that you know what we are doing when we start coding, when we start debugging those tasks. I'm using coding again, sorry about that. So let's go and look and start what we are here for. So first, like I said, we look through the quiz. So I'll just open it up. I'll open it up so that if peradventure you haven't done that, so that you can look through and be able to fix that up. First, the following code gives this incorrect output, which are the following statement about what is causing the error is true. So they gave you a program they want you to look through. So if you look through here, okay, all these are basic. These are the statements, you know, the header file. Then you have the program itself, and you initialize I and J and all of that. You use a for loop. Then here the problem is coming from here. Actually, after the while loop, we are supposed to increment J, all right, before or after the printf statement. So we are supposed to have J++ somewhere before or after here, before or after the printf statement, so that it will increment. So that is where the error is in that program. So here you have J never increments, so it will always be less than 10, and J never increments, so it will always going to print 0. So that's that. So move on. The next one, look at the following code, and okay, they want us here. They want us to in the main.c file, on what line is the first error that compiler return. The first error that the compiler return, okay, that will be this. So you have this as an error, then if you come down here, you have another one. So the first one will be this, all right, undeclared variable I was used in the program, but it was never declared. So the compiler is going to return that as an error, because you used I in the program, but it was never declared. So that is the first error. Then the following code, what is the error in this code? So let's see what we have. Okay, here we declared variables. All these are correct. You initialize them and all of that. So the error is coming from here, actually, here. Okay, and that will be that we want to assign J a new value, not compare it. So it should be J equal to. So here you can see that this is a comparison operator, like you are testing for equality. That is not what we are supposed to do. We are supposed to assign, and to assign you use 1 equal to sign, and that is supposed to be this instead of the other one. So we are not testing for equality, rather we want to assign j the value of j minus 1. So that will be that, and we'll move to the next one. The code, does it work as intended? So what could be the error in the third one? For this, what information do the printf statement tell us about how our code is executed? Okay, you have a code, you have SCL break and printf. So what does that do? You know, printf statement basically they help to show when the for loop in this program is finished, and as well as the printf shows the break, what the breaks will cost, shows that break will cause for loop exited to print, indicating that the even number is never printed. So that is that. I just needed you to look through that and fix up if you have any issues with that quiz questions. So I'm going to close it up and we move to the main task itself so that we can do that and get it done once and for all. So let me close this up. So here we have, I want you to see this, we have about 4 tasks, 0 to 3, and what we are going to be doing, we are going to be debugging, not really coding them out. All right, we are going to be debugging. Okay, that is what we are going to be doing in this particular task. So we go ahead and continue what we are working on. We'll go ahead and create the files for each of them. Create the file. Like I stated earlier, this is not a project where you have to code from scratch. You are only debugging. You're only debugging on the code that you have been given. So what files are we creating for this particular project? We'll start creating each of the files. The first one we have is the readme.md file. So I'll just have to restore this down. Okay, so I just I got a terminal webtem, so I'll be using webtem. So if I do cd root, okay, so cd or cd into that directory, into this repo ALS low level programming. So I'll pick this from here, I'll come and do cd into that, paste it here, and if I hit enter, I'm going to go to, so the next step will be to create this directory 0 times 03. I have to create that directory, and if I come here, what I'll have to do, I've copied that already. I'll do mkdir arrow to make directory, then I'll paste the name of the directory I want to make. But I have already created this directory, so it's going to throw a little some error that I've created this directory. But if you are doing that for the first time, it's not going to show you that error. So if I hit enter now, I say make directory, it's going to tell me yes, I've created this already because I have created that. So for you that's doing that for the first time, it's not going to show that. So you make directory. So after that, you go ahead with cd, then paste the name of the directory. So we are in the 0 times 03 debugging directory. So after doing that, the next thing you are going to do, you are going to start creating your files, and the first of which you are aware is the readme.md file, which we are going to create now. So we are going to do that right about now. So create the readme.md file. To do that, we are going to do vi readme.md. If I hit enter, it takes me here, and yes, this is the file we are creating, readme file. And if you care to know where I'm adding a hash here, is because I want this, if the way it's going to display on GitHub, I want this to be a header. So you can do that too. You can add that to your, or if you want that to be a bold header, in your GitHub. So after that, you just add your little comment there, and you don't have to put in this. Please do it the way that you can add any statements of your choice. All right, so just put in a readme dot, it should not be empty. So put it that once you are done with that, then you can do escape column WQ to save and quit. So if you hit enter, it will get out and you've succeeded in creating your readme.md file. So after that, then we have to come here and we start looking at each of them, each of the project. The first one is zero main. In most projects we offer this, you could go through that, and what I want you to see actually is here. Based on the main.c file above, create a file named zero main.c. This file must test that the function positive or negative gives the correct output. When given a case of 0, you are not coding the solutions, you are just testing it. However, you can adopt this from here and compile with makefile to test locally and all of that. So let me say this, that a lot of people make the mistake of thinking that it's compulsory to create this positive or negative file. All right, that is not, it's just a test file. So in this particular I will not be creating that file. Okay, I will just go ahead and create the necessary files that they want me to create. Okay, so because here we just read earlier that you only need to upload the zero main.c and main.h file for this task. We will provide our own positive that for testing purpose. So what you need to do, you have your zero main.c and your main.h file. So I'll go ahead and first create my main.h file. So how do I do that? I go ahead and do vi main.h. If I hit enter, it brings me here. So what is this and where am I getting this from? Okay, let me throw a little more light on that. If you come here, here you can see this file main.h. okay, and it's synonymous, except that there's a little addition. That's the only difference between what is here and mine. There's a little additions to that. So if you look at that, you see if not def, define, and all of that include standard input output.h and void positive. I have that void and a few other additions. So what are all these additions? These are the functions for the other files. This first one is the function for the first file. Okay, for the first file, and they gave that to you here. So you're going to just put this in this file. Then the others are the functions to the other files. Okay, to the other files that you are going to create later. So that is the function for the other files. This one represents for the first file. So you put in this in your main.h file. You put all of this in your main.h file. So once you are done with that, you could do your escape, go to your shift column WQ, you save and quit, and then you press the return key. So after doing that, you have succeeded in creating your main.h file. So after creating your main.h file, then you go ahead, you go down and see what next. You are supposed to create the zero main.c file. Okay, the zero main, like I've emphasized earlier, we are not going to be writing that code from scratch. We are only debugging. So you have the code which we are going to debug. They gave it to you here. So let's go ahead and do vi zero main.c. Let me just pick up the file name from here. Okay, I'll pick the file name from here. I'll come here, I'll go ahead and do vi zero main.c. I'll paste that in, and if I hit enter, it takes me here. So what do I have here? Here I have the file exactly the way it is. They gave it to me with just one modification. That's the debugging we are talking about. So if you look through this file, you discover that it is exactly the same thing. here. But just one line. The difference is just in one line. So look at it. You have the main.h and you have that here, test functions, and you're only supposed, what line are you modifying? Let me quickly show you that you're only modifying this line, because you are supposed to initialize I to be what? To be 0. To be 0, initialize I to be 0. So that's the only line I modified here. All right, you can see here, that's it. I modified this. Okay, so you go ahead and do same. I modified just that line. Every other thing, that's where we are debugging. Every other thing should be the same. So once you are done that, you will do your escape column WQ. So before you push, you could test locally. All right, you could test this file locally to know if what you've done is correct. You could test it. Okay, let's just, because we will need this and we don't have the positive or negative.c, but we don't need that either way. So we could just go ahead and push and check if our code is correct. So the next thing, we go ahead. All right, so since we have worked on the first, we've had our main.h file now, as well as the 0main.c file. What we are going to do, we are going to go ahead and do our git add. Do git add dot git add, then we hit enter. I'm not pushing again, I pushed this earlier. I pushed this code before now. So you do git commit, your commit message. You could use the file name 0main.c. you could use this 0main.c, or you could use debugging, or you could use update. Just make it explanatory. Let me just say update. You hit enter, then you go ahead and do git push. All right, you hit enter, that's going to push your code to the remote. So after doing that, you can just come here and check if your code, if you did the right thing, if your code is correct. So you could go ahead and check if the code is correct. So let's check together. All right, so this is, run it so that you, all right, to clear any element of doubt. Running on. Just a few seconds. All right, so it's all checked correctly. It's all checked. So I'll close this up and I'm going to move to the next one. The next one we have here. So like I said earlier, one of the secret to this debugging is that you are not writing any code from scratch. You are just modifying and making a few changes, maybe 1 or 2 lines to the code that have already been written. So know this, and it's going to help you get this tasks done as soon as possible. So that is what you are doing here. So what I'm going to, the next one is this. Copy this file. Don't add or remove any line. I'm reading the instruction here. As we'll be checking your line count, you are only allowed to comment out existing code. So what this task is all about is that you have a code, which is this. This is what you were given, and they want you to comment out the parts that will not make this code to run appropriately. Sorry. So you are supposed to just comment out the part of the code that will not make it run appropriately. So, and the code you were given is this. This is what you are given. So what you are going to do, the first thing is that you're going to create the file one.main.c from here. So you pick this file from here, copy it, come here, do vi. And go to your terminal, you do vi, and you put that in. All right? You're going to put that in. So once you've done that, you're going to hit enter. So what this task is about is that for this particular code, is going to result in an infinite loop. And the line, there are part of this code that causes that, and that is from here to here. All right? These lines of code, about these 4 lines of code, causes an infinite loop in this particular code. So they want you to comment out that part that causes it. Oh, that's the part I've alerted out. So you come here, you do vi one.main.c, and if I hit enter from here, it's going to bring me here. Okay, so this is it. So this is exactly the same code that is here. It's exactly the same. What the only difference is that we only commented out these 4 lines. All right, using slash and asterisk. We use slash and asterisk to comment out that part. So that is what we did here. So once you have done that, you've commented out those 4 lines, you could do your escape colon do your escape. Sorry. Your escape column WQ to save and quit. All right, if I hit enter, it's going to get that from there. So after doing that, what the next thing you have to do, you can go ahead and check. You could use GCC to check. Okay, maybe let me just check for this. What this we are checking, we are using testing this if it's going to give us this output that is here. If it does that, that means what we did is correct. So I'm going to just pull this GCC that is here for the purpose of testing. Anytime you see they put something like that, you know that it's for testing purpose. So we're going to test if we are going to get that output. So I'll paste this. So if I hit enter, all right, it has compiled. If I list for here, you see that main.c file is there. One main.c, the one on green. So that's the test. So after you do that, how do you check that? You come here to check the content. You copy the second line from ./1 main. All right, you come here and put it here. So if I hit enter now, you see the output, which is exactly the same that you have here, exactly the same you have there. So that is it. So after doing all of this, you do your git add, git commit, and you do your git push to push the code to the remote. All right, git add, git commit, and you do git push. So once you are done with that, you could come back here and you run your check for this code. So check, and this is it. The code is correct. All right, it's correct. If you miss this up, just replay this video, or you have any question, drop it in the comment section. I'm always there to answer all your questions. Okay, so I'll close this and I'll move to the next one. Okay, I'll have to rerun it so that this checker will have to rerun it. And so it's checking, just a few seconds, and we have that. All right, so you see that it's just the same output, is all correct, it's checked correctly. So I'll close this and I'll move to the next one. So again, we have that, and we are modifying, we are debugging or modifying a code here. And where is it? The file name here, main.h. We already put all our function in main.h. That's why we are not going there. We already put all our function in main.h. So the file we are interested in now is this. This is the file we want to create. Though they have it already, they want us to modify it, adjust it, so that it can display correctly, so that the output will be correct. And I'll show you just about now what this task is about. So for this particular task, they said this program prints the largest of three numbers. The largest of three numbers. This is the program, not that. This is it. This is it. So what they are expected to do, since we are debugging, we are not writing code from scratch, you pick this code that you are given. Copy this from here to this point, to this close the curly brace, copy it, and put it in your VI. All right? So you put it in your VI. Do this. I'm going to hit enter VI. So that code, you see, is just what you have here. You put it in your VI and modify just, I think, 2 lines. You are going to modify 2 lines. So I'm going to show you the lines we are making adjustments so that the output will display correctly, because we are debugging this code. So the line we are adjusting is, this is it. We are modifying this line as well as this if s. We are modifying this line. So these are just the 2 lines we need to modify to make the code work properly. These are the 2 lines. So we'll go ahead and explain that. Here you have what we are trying to do. We are trying to say this is an if statement. If A is greater than B, and this AND operator, and B is greater than C. This, it doesn't put that rightly, because what we are doing, we are comparing A to B and C. So what it's supposed to be is, if A is greater than or equal to B, and A is greater than or equal to C, the largest is A, right? The largest is A. And the next one, S if B is greater than, now we are comparing B to A and C. So S if B is greater than A, and A is greater than C, this is not the proper way to put this. So to put that in the right perspective, you say if B is greater than or equal to A and B is greater than or equal to C, because you are comparing B, the largest number will be what? B. S, C. S, the largest is C. So every other part is same except for these 2 lines we just adjusted to make the code work. So after you've done that, then you can go ahead and exit from here. All right, exit VI. Then once again you can run your test, but I'm not running that for this task. So you could do your git add dot, you hit enter, git commit -m, your commit message. You could choose to use the file name, which is to the number.c. All right, this, you could choose this as your commit message. Then in that case, you hit enter, then you do your git push. So after that, you hit enter. It's going to push it to GitHub. So once you are done, you could come back here and you check your code. So we're going to check this together. So let's run this check. All right. Yes, I'll have to start to rerun it again. So just a few seconds, and that's we output the results. Oh, as you can see, the check is complete and the tasks were checked correctly. They were checked all correctly. So I'll just go ahead and close this, and we move to the last task, sleep here. This program converts a date to the day of year and determine how many days are left in the year, taking leap year into consideration. So this particular task, they gave us a code. Let me show you. This is the code. Theory print remaining days.c. They gave us a code, and what this code does is that this code helps to print the remaining part of a year. All right. It helps print the remaining part of a year, the days we are in a year, and the remaining parts, the remaining number of days before that year elapses. But one of the drawback of this particular code they gave here is that it doesn't take leap year into consideration. It cannot work for leap year. Every other year it can work, but for leap year it cannot work. So what they want us to do to this code, they want us to modify it in such a way that it can work for every day of the year. All right, every year, every day. That's what they are saying. Fix the print remaining days, function, so that the output worked correctly for all dates and all leap years. So it's not going to, there's no restriction to how it's going to work. So that is exactly what we are going to be doing in this particular task. So first things first, of course, we already have our main.h. So what we're doing next is this. So you go ahead and pick this up. Just copy this from here and you do vi and you put that here. Put that, and if I hit enter, you see we just modified the code we have here. Just modified. And where did we modify in this code? We only modified here. Let me show you that. This is where we made adjustment to this line. All right. This is where we adjusted in this code. Why every other thing remain the same. All right. So this is the line we adjusted. Every other part of the code remained the same. So what did we do? Here we have, if this modular 4 is exactly 0, or this is operator, or year modular 400 is exactly 1, and year modular 100 is not exactly 0, okay, then you treat this condition. But for you to make it put it in the right manner that will take all years, all dates into consideration, whether leap year or any other year, you have to do this. If year modular 4 is exactly 0, and you have to use the and here instead of or here, then after that, you put your and operator here, then you say year modular 400 is exactly 0, or year modular 100 is not equal to 0. So that is the proper way you are going to do it for it to work for both leap year and every other dates, right? So that is the only line, I believe. You can look through. If that is not true, you put it in the comment section as well. That is the only line I believe we change in this particular code. So after doing that, I show you the end. It's just the same thing that I see, except the line I showed you earlier, right? Except for the line I showed you earlier. So once you are done with that, then you can exit. You do escape, column, okay, column WQ to save and quit. So once you have done with that, you can save and quit. So once you are done, you go ahead and do your git add. Git add, you put dots, you hit enter, you do your git commit, -m, and the message you could just use the tax define name. All right, you could use the file name which I copied earlier. You hit enter, then lastly you do your git push to push it to GitHub. So once you are done, you hit enter, you're going to push that to GitHub. So at the end of the day, we come back here, which you have been waiting for. This is the last task actually. So you come back to check your code. So start a new test. Sorry, start a new test. Okay, so we wait. Okay, the check is already running. All right, so this is it. This is it. You can see it's all checked correctly. It's all checked correctly. Please, you have any question, kindly drop it in the comment section. I'll be there to answer any questions you have. If you have any, and if not, give it a thumbs up if this helped you in any way, and also let us know that okay, work on this video, work on this project, so that we can keep coding together and keep doing hard things. I'll thank you for finding your watching and encouraging us with your comments, your likes, and your subscription. I'll definitely see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.